Hello and welcome to this live stream. I am Sarah Lockett and I'll be hosting this Q&A session today, as well as the MiraBan UK Film Awards ceremony on Thursday night here in London. So what we're doing today is we're talking to some of the filmmakers who have made the shortlist. And so what we're going to be doing, first of all, is telling you that you can vote for your own choices, and this will be the Best Film Audience Award. And the way that you do that is you go onto Facebook and you join the group London Film Events, and you have to join the group to vote, and then you can vote for your favourite. And you can, of course, see all of the shortlisted films on the MiraBan UK Film Awards.co.uk website, so do that. But remember that we are here to talk to two of our fantastic filmmakers, and tonight we're talking about one of the films shortlisted for Best Documentary called Step by Step to Auschwitz. We're talking with Jonathan Farrugia, who's a writer-director, and also Alexis Kalous, scriptwriter. But before we talk to them, let us take a look at a trailer of the film.
It was 9th of July.
They put in 180 people in a wagon.
Based on factual and personal accounts.
And we arrived in Auschwitz.
Where more than 1 million people were killed.
Very schnell herunter.
My father jumped off the train and I never saw him again.
My father saved my life.
The place where a person's identity was only a number.
B7608. That was my number and that was my name.
Which was nicknamed the Factory of Death.
That is not a factory. That is the crematorium where they burn your parents, your children.
Their destiny laid in the hands of one man.
Dr. Mengele.
The butcher of Auschwitz.
Where they were destined to die.
They used me as a tool.
Winner of Best Documentary and Best Inspirational Film.
My father was sent there actually with his brother.
The world should never forget what has happened to the Jewish people in Malta.
Were traitors leaving their country.
We were just absolutely certain that the Germans couldn't win.
Step by Step to Auschwitz, a co-production between Flash Productions and Public Broadcasting Services Malta.
Fantastic. Well, back we are with Jonathan Farrugia, writer-director, and also Alexis Kalous, scriptwriter, and also our festival director, Jay Manari, is with us too. So welcome. And where are you, Jonathan and Alexis, in the world at the moment?
So today we're coming to you from Malta, our home country.
From Malta. Now, I don't know whether there are a lot of people, because this is about the Holocaust, isn't it, in Malta who were involved in that? Or did you have to travel all over Europe for this?
In fact, that was the inspiration. That never in Malta has the story been told through this medium. And even though Malta was in the center of the Second World War, and we were occupied by the British during that period, and Malta was one of the most bombarded places on earth during the Second World War. We were never invaded or occupied by the connections of Malta with the Holocaust.
We struggle to hear you, Alexis. If you can come closer to the microphone.
Yes. So basically, as I'm saying, the story of the Holocaust had never been told in Malta in the Maltese language by a Maltese production. And that was the inspiration that led Jonathan and the production team to make the story. The festival documentary, which is being presented, is a snap of a larger project, which eventually became a series in the Maltese language about the story of Auschwitz, step by step to Auschwitz, basically telling the story from the beginning, from the rise of Hitler until the liberation of the camps.
And I think you found some really fantastic interviewees, didn't you? I'm thinking of the American tour guide, as it were, around Auschwitz. You found some really amazing people to speak.
The production team actually wanted to make sure that all the information that is provided was not only authentic, but as much as possible also original. The production in itself, the full production, I think, is also something which should be cherished by humanity, because inside it we find interviews with people who were in Auschwitz during the time that the camp was operating, actual survivors, who I think through this project gave out information which they had never given before. So even though they might have given interviews throughout the years, the information that we managed to record on camera from these persons, I will mention Lily Ebbett, for example. Lily Ebbett, who is a known character from Auschwitz. The story which she gave us regarding a necklace which she entered into the concentration camp with and came out with the same necklace, that is something which adds so much value to this documentary.
Really, and your interviewer did a good job pulling those little nuggets of things out of their memories.
The story of Bernard Oven, for example. Bernard Oven actually went on site with Jonathan into the concentration camp next to the bed and the bunker he slept on. You know, so those are the actual, the real stories, and also the information that we used, which was verified through the Jewish Care Center in London and in Poland, putting us in contact with the right people. The Auschwitz-Birkenau Memorial Museum as well, who approved of the project and gave us the facility around as well, and also professors in the Holocaust from University of Oxford, for example, who also add more weight into the information.
That's it, a real European production. And I want to bring Jay in now. And what were your impressions watching the film, and what do you want to ask maybe?
Well, as a festival director of MiraBan UK Film Awards, we love films that are made independently. So definitely films that show a story that has been told many times, but in a unique way. So this documentary certainly brings up elements of uniqueness that makes it special and makes it valuable for us. So my question goes to Jonathan in terms of how the production, started, how it got funded, and then I also heard distributed on the Malta TV channel. So how this journey, started and how it's progressing.
So we started working on this in 2019. We took around 1.5 years to produce all the 13 episodes. Regarding the financial, we had in Malta the funds are small, so
a lot of it was self-funded.
Yes, a lot of it was self-funded. We filmed the documentary in Malta, in Poland, and also in UK, as Alexis told you.
Basically, when it comes to funding, as we said, the funding is limited. A lot of the connections came together in a very, how do you say? They came one after each other, basically. Making one first. Jonathan has the ability of getting in contact with people who respond for some reason, finding people even just on Facebook, a survivor, getting in contact with the organization at the right time. You can imagine at the moment when Jonathan cut his ticket together with the camera guy, the TV presenter, to go to Auschwitz. At the same time, it coincided with 3 events where survivors were going to be present. So they were people we were already in contact with, and fate got it that these people were all going to be there at the same time. So that was also very.
Yes, and we filmed all the episodes in three weeks. We started from London. We took 1 week, then 2 weeks in Poland, and in the concentration camp. We filmed every day, about 18 hours a day. It was July, from the 21st July till mid-August, so Poland, also England, Poland more. It was a hot weather. So, but the result, I think that is positive results.
Yeah, and you think maybe some of these people actually wanted to forget, or maybe spent a lot of their lives wanting not to think about it, but you still managed to bring it out in a sensitive way.
I think the sensitive way helped to bring out the stories which they had never told. There are some details which are shocking, but shocking in the sense of the human element. So this documentary doesn't look at the Nazis as a powerful army or the power muscle of it. It is looking at the people who were in the camp and the human story behind it. And they were very happy to give us that part of the story for the relevance that it also carries on today.
I'm thinking of the story. I mean, one of the ones that impressed me the most is the one about the ring that couldn't get off the finger, and then right on time before the soldier was threatening the man to cut his finger off, it just fell by itself. So definitely, I mean, you know, elements that not only, it's not about shocking us, it's more about faith and believing in something beyond and that could save us. And in that case, definitely these people somehow made it despite the impossible journey they had in front of them. So I think your presenter again was great to enhance those elements, and you were great as a script writer and as a director to enhance those details, because again, these are stories that in many ways, the moment you start watching documentaries about the Holocaust, there are many, and people tend to get anesthetized in front of, you know, even the evil of what came out of that, the terrible, you know, crimes that were committed. But these elements bring back, I think, humanity also from the people who are watching. So I felt really connected to the people that were speaking, especially for those stories that were so personal that I would, as a person that has lived something like that, I will even feel scared to tell that to my children, because I will feel like, I don't know, I will still feel shocked of my father or my mother living a tragedy like that.
In fact, some of the people who were being interviewed, they had never said those stories before, neither in the books that were published about them, neither to their family. Especially, even there were certain people who were on the kinder transport who left before the concentration camps. You know, there are so many different elements and human aspects to it, that I think this was part of it, that they have reached an age, they have reached a moment that if they're not going to say the story now, it will never be told. And we were there at the right moment with the right, also the right mindset. We went there to make a story about people.
And they wanted it to be recorded for history, didn't they? And I was also thinking that you did use some archive footage, some black and white footage, but also you did this dramatized section when they were being stripped down and taken to the gas chambers. How did you feel making that sequence?
There were sequences, there were some of them which we actually also filmed in Malta, of those reconstructions. So that was also a challenge, because it was the first time that we did something like that. The others were also filmed in Germany and in Poland, through the help also of other people because it's important to get the right uniforms, the right setting for it as well. And those were all approved also by the Auschwitz-Birkenau Memorial Museum as well, which is important. Was important for us that we are giving out something which is not over-dramatized. We didn't want to go into create a blockbuster. We wanted to bring out the story of the people themselves, and that is something which Jonathan and the whole team made sure that that was like the unique, let's say, the unique selling point of it.
Yes, I've not seen that particular sequence dramatized before. And also the vulnerability and the humiliation, because you had your actors really stripped down and be naked, and taking all their possessions off them, and it was very powerful, that part.
That type of footage has never been used in such a documentary before. So that was our aim, but our aim was the human and inhuman way as well, because we talk about the human person, but also the inhuman way that it was brought forward. But one point which they wanted us also to make, the survivors themselves, was that we bring this story out into today's society for people to appreciate that these things can easily happen to human beings. So these people who we met were the actual people who were there, and today they live a free life, but only after what they had been through. And they emphasize on that importance, that whenever the story is told, it is told in a humane way, in the sense to show that these things can happen.
Did you record any feedback after filming the footage that you were actually going to use for the documentary? Did you record any feedback of how did they feel about sharing what they lived? Some backstage of that.
Footage Yes, there are hundreds. I don't know, hundreds of hours of.
Yes.
There are hundreds of hours which haven't been published. Let's say that. I mean, there is a lot of footage, a lot.
Yes. We use friction of the whole filming. So, as you know, you film a lot, and then you use in the editing, you use parts to make the important.
Were you planning to do any backstage of that elements at a certain point, or you think you just keep them private for respect of the people? I mean, if they are happy to share their feedback about how they felt about making this documentary with you.
I think I will keep them for me. I think private.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Also, at one point, when we were filming the survivors, most of the time they were crying when we were there. And most of the time we also start crying with them after behind the camera.
Yeah.
It took a long time.
Yes. We took around one day interviewing each person for some snippets of.
Yeah. Very, very powerful stuff. And you did the whole 13-week series, did you, in 3 weeks of filming?
Yes.
My goodness, yeah. But so worth it to record these things while these people are still alive. They're still with us. Because these were children at the time, of course. And there are fewer and fewer of these people every year.
Yeah.
And then after the filming, that it was in July, August, we took around 8 months editing. Alexis made the translation from English to Maltese. And then we broadcasted in April.
We had the survivors who were Hungarian.
Yes.
And we had them to script from Hungarian into English, so that we have the English translation also available. And then, obviously, because eventually we wanted it also for Maltese television, it was all translated into Maltese. I spent the summer listening, not seeing, listening to the interviews.
Listening to it, just transcribing them and logging them, yes.
Yeah.
And that was because I didn't go with Jonathan on site. I didn't go to Auschwitz with Jonathan or to the UK. I wasn't in the filming part. So Jonathan was sending me all the
rushes.
Exactly, for me to transcribe. And I could say I was traumatized.
Yeah.
Because you will know that when you see an image and hear a sound, you can relate to the sound and to the image. But when you only have the breaking voice of a person telling a story in such detail, and most of the time I was writing them at 10 o'clock at night, at midnight, I sleepless nights. I couldn't sleep.
Very traumatizing. Listen, I think we are going to have to finish very soon. I think, Jay, were you about to say that?
I was about to say we have another live stream scheduled at 8. So we are due to say goodbye to Jonathan and
Alexis as well. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to meet you both, and we're gonna see you in person at the World Cinema, as far as I know, right?
Oh.
Amazing. So it's going to be a pleasure to meet you also in person. Just one thing I want to say to our audience. We know we had some troubles in accessing the poll on the London film event. So what has been shared as the last update, if you had troubles and you were able to message and your message was recorded in a sense that you received a response, don't worry about voting again. We are posting again after these live streams another polls where the people that weren't able to vote, they will be able to vote through the new poll. But we will count, we'll summarize all the actual votes at the very end at the 6 p.m. By 6 p.m. on the 17th, you have time to vote. After that, we will have our results. So I'll leave it to you, Sarah, to say goodbye, and we close this one.
Exactly. Thank you so much, guys. Really good to talk to you, and we will see you on Thursday at the event, at the glittering ceremony. And so come dressed really spiffy. Okay, we'll see you then.
Bye.
Okay, see you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye. Bye-bye.